there. So I wanted to talk to you today about credit cards. Credit cards are one of those things where I feel like people, especially in the financial industry, they either love them as a tool or they despise them and they think they are the devil. But I'm here to tell you today that credit cards are neither good nor bad. They are literally a little piece of plastic. They have no feelings, no intentions. They just are a thing. However, what makes credit cards good or bad, if you will, is what you do with them, the choices that you make with them, the way you use them. That is what can make credit cards good for some people and bad for others. Depending on how you use credit cards, they can actually be an incredibly useful financial tool. They are simply a tool. Or they could be a source of a lot of stress, a lot of overspending, a lot of debt. The impact that credit cards have on you and your finances is really based on the user, you, and your habits regarding credit cards. So here's the thing. If you're trying to fix your finances, if you're trying to get out of debt, or maybe if you're not even really in debt, but you do find yourself overspending, the key to being good with credit cards is truly just to understand yourself, your spending habits, and the way you use credit cards. So if you are able to charge responsibly, credit cards can be a very useful tool, but you have to be honest with yourself. So I'll tell you a little story. When my husband and I first decided to start paying off our debt, we had, I think, around $10,000 of credit card debt. That was a couple different cards. And that happened because we needed to use our credit cards because we could not get through the month and pay all of our expenses on our income. So basically, our income ran out before the month ended. You may have heard that saying before, and that's basically what that means. So we would spend all of the money that we earned on all of our bills and the spending we did, and then we would still have sometimes a week, sometimes 2 weeks, depending, to go until we got paid again, and we would have to use the credit card to bridge that gap then. And that is how we got ourselves into trouble, because as soon as our paychecks would come, then we'd have to take a huge chunk of that paycheck and put it on the credit card, right? So it was always this cycle. That is how we get caught in that vicious cycle of paying off our credit cards and then turning around and charging them right back up. And that is why they can be so dangerous. Of course, coupled with high interest rates, it can be really difficult to get ahead and gain some momentum and actually pay off those credit cards if you're still using them. So all I want to explain to you today is that it's really important for you to be honest with yourself and for you to know yourself and your habits. So back then when we were in debt, we knew that we could not have our credit cards. We just could not charge responsibly. We could not use them responsibly. We were not in a position at that time where we could pay them off in full each month. We had no savings. We had no emergency funds. We had nothing. We were really starting from not even from scratch, from in the hole, right? Trying to dig our way out. So we knew, and we had to be honest with ourselves, that credit cards were not a good idea for us. So we closed every single credit card we had except for one. We did keep one open and we did continue to use it, but we set really specific parameters. And of course, the parameters have to be up to you and your spouse or your partner. But for us, we decided that we were only going to charge gas on our credit cards. So we live in Pennsylvania, so more than half the year it's freezing outside anyway, and nobody wants to get out, leave your kids in the car, walk in the store and pay for gas, right? So that was kind of like my non-negotiable, that I wanted to still use a credit card for that. And that's what we did. And we started really slowly. We only put gas in the credit card and we paid it off in full every single month, okay? Then we continued to get out of debt, pay off all our credit cards, but we did still keep that one credit card. And very slowly over time, we were able to build up a lot more discipline, a lot more self-control when it came to using credit cards, and we really established a lot of good habits. Now, there was a time or two when we thought we were ready to start using credit cards again, and we tried, and I could kind of feel myself having that urge to spend more, having that urge to swipe more often, and we really had to rein it in and be very self-aware that we were feeling those old habits starting to stir up, because old habits die hard, right? And if you're a spender at heart, like myself and my husband are, you get that plastic in your hand and and it's all over. So it definitely took us a couple of years to get to a place where we could actually use our credit card without incident. So now for the past couple of months, maybe 6 to 9 months, we use that credit card almost exclusively for our spending, and it gets paid off all the time. In fact, I usually pay it off a couple of times a week just because I'm a bit of a spaz and I'm always in my budget, I'm always in my bank accounts, I'm always in my credit card, and I keep really close track of what we spend on it. So it just works for me to make multiple payments. However, if I was in a different situation, I would pay it off every single time we got paid. So we do not put anything on a credit card anymore unless we physically have the money in our bank account that I can turn right around and pay that card off. So that is how credit cards work for us. And that is how I went from kind of agreeing that credit cards were really bad news to learning how to change our habits, learning how to build good, solid financial habits, and really slowly over time building up that self-discipline that we are able to stick to these parameters we set, and we're now able to use credit cards as a tool to earn points and rewards and all those things. And are those things going to make us wealthy? No, of course not. But we are spending the money regardless. And in my opinion, I would rather at least get some cash back for the money I'm spending than get nothing. And all that to say, if I notice our habits are slipping again and we're having a hard time sticking to the parameters we set regarding credit cards, then we will have to stop using them again. So it really just comes down to being very self-aware, very honest with yourself. And listen, if now's not a good time for you to be using credit cards, it's okay. You're certainly not alone. You can close your accounts. You can always open up new ones in the future. You can cut up your card and not use it and call the company back when you feel confident that you can charge responsibly. And trust me, they will happily issue you a new card. I hope you found this helpful. Of course, if you have any questions, go ahead, shoot me an email, let me know what you're struggling with, and I hope you have a great day.